Welcome to the Sacred Womb podcast, womb-centered wisdom for the arc of womanhood, with me, your host, Melanie Swan. Hey, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today I am talking to the lovely Agnieszka Drabek-Prime. I could just about get your name out now. We're both in perimenopause.
You're doing it really well.
This is the fourth take. We don't care anymore. Your name's Agnieszka. Let's go for it. No, seriously, there's been a storm. There's been links expired. There's been a thing. So here we are. We've been chatting for an hour and a half already, and we are going for it now. This is happening. So Agnieszka, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So I first met Agnieszka 7-8 years ago. You came to do the womb medicine woman training. And can you just give us a brief summary of what you're doing now to work?
So I do many things.
Many.
I am a doula. Many. Yes, I am. Well, I'm working mainly with women during their transition period. So I work as a doula. I work as a celebrant. I mean, a celebrant in the way that I do celebrations and rituals and ceremonies. And yes, I see clients, I do workshops, and an interesting thing that I just thought about is that on this beautiful womb medicine woman workshop that we've met on, I also met lovely Jamie and Isha that I'm still, they are my womb sisters, and actually they shared their practices in my book.
I saw that, yeah.
So,
yeah, fab. And I know you said you do workshops and rituals and stuff, but it's all around like transitions and the womb and for women.
Yes, transitions, womb, women, and what we're going through and who we are and who we are becoming.
Fantastic work. And you're based in Cambridge in the UK?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And I think you're one of those unique people that do not work online at all. It's just in person, isn't it? No?
No, this is something that I am trying to open myself to. So, I'm spreading and opening and coming out of my comfort zone.
Okay, fair enough. But it sounds like your work is mainly in Cambridge and you're...
Yes.
Okay, good. It's good to give a bit of context and so people know where you are as well. So could you tell us how this book first came to you? Was it an idea or a spark, or is it something you've been crafting for years, like mine, in the background, every single day? But yeah, do tell us.
Well, it's always, something that you kind of craft for a very long time in a way that I lived the cyclicity and I embodied it within myself first. But the idea of the book itself came to me in its wholeness, it just all at once.
What? What? Can someone put a word in for me, please? Do carry on. Yes, tell me.
So, yes, I got up, I was just going to bed when the idea, it feels to me, and I really think it's like the idea was the book, the spirit of the book was just floating in the air by me, and I managed to open myself, and I caught it just in time, and I channeled it. So I just said to my husband, I sat in bed, and I put the light on, and I said, that's it, I'm going to write a book. Be quiet, I have to write it all down. So I grabbed a piece of paper and I just wrote the title, the chapters. I just had like a clear idea of what it's going to be, where it's going. I had an idea why I want to do it, just like everything. Everything came in this one perfect moment. Mm-hmm. And of course, that was one perfect moment. But after that, there were months of work and channeling and putting it onto paper and typing it. And
yes, it does that. Yes. Wonderful. I'm genuinely pleased for you, and also sitting here like, oh my God, it just doesn't always come like that, does it?
No, it really doesn't. And the other two books, I have one book that I've published before this one, and now one that I'm writing now. So even the one that I'm writing now, I honestly didn't know when it's going to go. I kind of started and it was the flow. And from one chapter to the next, I really didn't know what next chapter is going to be. And when I finished the chapter I was writing, the next one just naturally came in. So It's a different process. And I think creative process is something really amazing. And it's very, very individual to every single one of us. And
absolutely.
We just need to open ourselves to it and embrace it and see where it will lead us and what it will teach us and what gifts it has in store for us.
Yeah, I completely get it. Some things I get like, oh, yes, done. And I've got the title and the structure and I can feel it and it's there and it takes me 2 days to put on my website or something.
Yes.
Then other things are like a sniff, a little whisper, a cultivation, something that comes and then goes again. It's very personal and it's very unique to each sort of creative project, isn't it, as well?
Yes, it is.
But that's what's lovely. That's what's juicy and alive about it. So you look like you enjoy it anyway.
I do. I do love writing. This is how I understand the world. This is how I can translate everything that is happening on the outside into my within, how I can perceive it and process it and learn from it.
Yeah, lovely. Okay. So I know you've obviously done lots of womb work, lots of cycle work. You're a doula. You work with women a lot. So I'm curious, how did the goddess energy, or how did you weave the goddesses in and why really?
So I've been always working with the archetypes because I find archetypes very helpful for me personally in understanding the world, in understanding what is happening outside and even within sometimes. And, archetypes are those energies and those symbols and those ideas that have been passed to us from a very, very long time ago from our ancestors, and they are still active and alive in our field, in our subconscious. And there's something that we can tap into and understand very quickly what is being said, what is happening. It's just like when somebody will say mother, we bring the meaning of this word. And of course, it will be different for me and you because we had different mothers and we understand motherhood in a different way, but the essence will be very, very similar, or it will begin in the similar place, but it will take us on a slightly different adventure. And I believe in the embodied work. So everything that I teach or write about is something that I embodied first. So when I was working on my cyclicity and I was trying to find my way around it, I started to reach into the goddesses. And I do work with goddesses in the archetypal way, but also they are divinities. So they are some powers that we can call on, and the power of great feminine. This is the great power that I'm working with and believe in deeply. So the goddesses are really the mirror of Mother Woman, and whatever is happening to us right now already happened to them in the past. And be it 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago, women went through birth, they went through death, they went through menarche, they were raped, they were sold, they went through everything. And really, we're going through that as well. And I found that relating to the goddess and to what happened to them and how they dealt with it is teaching me and helping me how I can go through the processes in my life right now. Especially that sometimes when we are stuck in the situation, in something that is traumatic or scary or unknown. And when we're stuck in that place, we cannot see the way out. And we cannot see, first of all, how it can pass. And sometimes we cannot see if we have tools within us to help ourselves with it. And I think this is another lesson that goddesses are teaching us because they went through it already. They did something to help themselves. They embraced something, or they had tools that they used to help themselves through it. And we can call on those tools right now and help ourselves. And, the great lesson of the menstrual cycle and on cyclicity in general that I gained is that nothing is forever. Everything is in constant flow and everything is in constant change. And this is the lesson of my cycle and the lesson of goddesses, that everything passes, be it good or bad, everything will pass. And just knowing that sometimes can help us through difficult situations and traumas and the situations that we're stuck in, and think that it will never end.
Yes, which is how it feels at the moment in perimenopause. It's not necessarily a traumatic situation, but these goddesses have already been through it, and they can show us the way a little bit, because as you say, it is hard to see the end. We're both completely in it right now, and it's a thing.
It is indeed. And they really have the tools, and they have so much to teach us, and we can approach them from many, many perspectives. And I'm not saying that we have to straight ahead believe in them, and worship them. It's not about that. It's about seeing the women in them and the mirror reflection of our womanhood.
Wonderful. I really like how you put that. It's very practical. It feels very realistic as well. It doesn't feel subservient or giving our power to them. It's like, hey, how did you do this? How did you go through it? How did you cope? What was the other side for you? And it's good to have role models, because we don't have many positive role models.
No, this is very true. And it's such a shame, because, you see, I deeply believe when women come together, they really can learn so much. And when we come together, we really stand strongly in our power. And I think in today's world, there's such strong sisterhood wound. And we are in constant competition with one another. Why? It's very difficult for me to understand, because there is so much we could do if we just come together and put our resources together, put our strength together, and create something beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if we all just downed tools, to be honest, and just said, no more fuckery, things would change. But we don't. We don't. Some of us do, some of us don't, but that's the planet we live on. I was also curious about, you've structured the book in a certain way. So I'm just reading through the contents here, and it starts in the menstrual cycle phase. The menstrual cycle phase. Oh, my head. The bleeding phase of the menstrual cycle, and then it goes to maiden, and let's have a look, journey from lover to mother, and enchantress, and shapeshifter. So, I'm just curious why you structured it that way and how it felt to write it that way, or did you kind of jump around, or did you write it in a kind of cyclical order?
I did write it in a cyclical order, because this is a very important order for me. You see, in our life today, in our modern society, we kind of believe that everything is linear, and we have to run sometimes like a headless chickens and just gather the goals. And then when we get to the goal, that there's another, line that we have to quickly follow to get to another goal, to get followers and likes and, I don't know, just fill in the blank, whatever. Mm-hmm. But this is not really the way that we have been created to live. We are cyclical beings, and I cannot be productive 24/7 whole year round. And
really?
What is more,
what's going on?
I'm not agreeing to it. I'm
you
saying
said no. You said no. You've unsubscribed. Good.
Exactly. I am productive when I'm productive, and that's it. And then I can do a lot.
Yeah.
But there's time when I just want to retreat, when I want to go within, and I want to be just by myself in my cave and, brew my wisdom, and that's it. And everything in our life is cyclical. Men and women, we both are. It's not that it's just a women's thing. What happened with women is that we have this physical menstrual cycle that helps us understand and see our cyclicity. And this is why I wanted to start the book in the void. So in this dark place, which is both the end and the beginning, which can be a contraction and expansion. This is the place where everything begins. And we have many voids in our lives. It's not only menstruation, but I believe this is the place where we always begin from. And then the book follows the cycle of growth, of peak, and then of winding down back into this this void, into this darkness, into this end that is at the same time a beginning. So we can begin a new cycle. And each cycle will be different. But each cycle can have this archetypal guides that can help us through it. And we have so many cycles in our life. It's menstrual cycle. We have a moon cycle and the sun cycle. We have our life cycle. And it all creates this beautiful medicine wheel that we are living, because this is our living map. And we're following that map. And often we're just kind of lost because we don't know what's going on. We don't listen to our bodies. We just want to push for whatever cost. And we're paying a really big price for it, I believe. So cyclical living is very important for me. And that's why I wanted this book to be like a little cycle that can begin again. When you finish reading this book, you can start it all over again and see what new, lessons you'll pick up, what new archetypes you can work with, what new practices you'd like to discover, because every single cycle is different in a way that I feel different in my void when we are in the winter, and I feel different in my void when we're in the summer. Mm-hmm. I felt different in my void or ovulation when I was 20, and I feel so much different now.
Oh, yes.
So we are changing and we're growing and our cycles are changing. And that was so different when I had my baby and when I became a mother. For me, that was such a eye-opener, and I could really understand my mom, what was happening to her when she was becoming a mother. So we're kind of learning all the time.
Lovely. Yeah, I was kind of lost in the cycle then, not lost, but just entranced by it and following it. I could feel the energy of it as you were talking about it. It's got a certain rhythm to it.
But it's an individual rhythm. Each of us have an individual rhythm that we should follow.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point, actually. There is a lot of cycle work. There's more and more cycle work in the world. And what I've noticed anyway, and I wanted to hear your experience because of your work with women, is there's a kind of map for the cycle of these 4 seasons. And I don't particularly follow it, but we need to tune into our bodies. But what I'm seeing anyway is women trying to match their cycle and this 4-season thing becoming an ideal, another thing to sort of beat ourselves with a stick with. And try and do. So I just wondered if you'd seen that too. And
I have, and to be perfectly honest, it just drives me absolutely mad because
completely up the wall.
Yes. I talk about 5 cycles and 5 seasons in my book, but in Polish language, we have this little season that is between winter and spring. Oh. And there's no equivalent in English. We call it przedwiośnie. But this is the time, when winter has finished and spring hasn't begun yet. It's this tiny little thing. And we have so many seasons within us. And when I hear, throughout the ages, women always bled at dark moon and, and always ovulated at the full moon. I'm just like, no, they bled when they bled and they ovulated where they ovulated. And that's just it. I don't like ovulating in the full moon. I find this is just too much. I love ovulating when the moon is dark. And I love bleed when the moon is full. It's just the energies of the outside really help the energies of what's happening within me.
Yeah.
And I think this is so important to, you can acknowledge, we can talk about seasons, we can talk about the energies of the cycle and take the archetypes of the cycle, but look within. How is your cycle? How does it look like? Do you have 4 seasons or do you have 8 seasons? Because sometimes in the cycle, I have 8 seasons.
Absolutely.
8 seasons, and I just go through them, and some of them don't even have a name because they just so unexpected and weird and maybe last for an hour or 2 or 2 days, but they are there. And if you're curious to notice what is happening in, within your body, then you can learn so much and you can embody all the changes that are happening, and it helps you not only grow, but it helps you generally in your life.
Wonderful. It brings me on to my last question, actually, is when I first got your book, which you kindly posted to me in Thailand, I was flicking through the contents, and what I was drawn to straight away is chapter 4, The Wisdom of Transitions. And thank you so much for putting that in, because they're so potent and so skimmed over, and we don't know they're there a lot of the time unless we're going slow enough, or we're looking, or we've read it in a book, say, and we're like, oh, I didn't even know about that. So you're all about transitions. You are Agnieszka Transitions Drabek-Prime. And I see you've included in your book like potions for transitions and essential oils for transitions. And I haven't read this bit, but I'm looking forward to reading it. But can you talk about the potency or the potential of transitions and how you've experienced them?
Of course. So actually, the first time when I heard about transitions within the menstrual cycle was on your workshop. And for me, that was such an eye-opener, because I've never really before understood how important they are. The transitions are just really the quintessence of, and the magic. This is the place where magic happens. When we're going from one place to the other, and we're not the person that we've just been, but we're not the new that is coming. We're in between. And as women, I think we are living very, very often in those in-between places, and we are walking the liminal throughout our life. And we don't want to acknowledge it, because sometimes it's scary, and sometimes it's an unknown, and it's mysterious, and sometimes dangerous and hard. Transitions are not walk in the park. They are a hard piece of cake to, bite onto. But if you are curious and if you listen to your body, I think transitions are the places where most of the learning and most of discovery happens, and the biggest growth and the biggest change. And we're talking about transitions, is transitions in life and transitions in our menstrual cycle. Just as women, we have so many transitions. Just look at the menarche, for example. This is a huge transition when a girl becomes a woman. And yet in our culture today, it's not acknowledged at all. At all. So how come we can celebrate our menstruality? How come we can celebrate all the other phases in our life when we cannot acknowledge the first one? The one when it all began, when that girl who was just a child stopped being a child and became a woman. And the same, with transition to become a mother. In our society, we kind of have this idea of this perfect mother. You give birth to your child and you love them straight ahead. You know what to do because it all comes naturally to you. It's not true. It didn't come naturally to me at all. It was a bloody hard work, and it took me a while to even start loving my son, because that was this just like strange little thing that came out of me, and I didn't know what to do. I wasn't prepared for it. Mm-hmm. And, we have so many transitions like that in our life, and we try to kind of put them under the carpet and not talk about it and just hush it because, everybody else is doing it and we don't learn anything from it because we are pretending. We're just putting plasters on and thinking, yeah, it's okay, it will be better or not. And this is also, when you work with the archetype, and I'm kind of like thinking about this mother archetype. Well, you have this good mother, but you also have a terrible mother. And we have those archetypes within us. And we have them all the time. And you see, working in transition time can bring all of that wisdom that is within us forth and can help us. Because I can connect to the archetype of the mother within me. And when I'm struggling with something that was triggered, for example, from my childhood, I can mother myself to help myself through it. What is more, although I'm not a grandmother yet, I have the archetype of the grandmother within me already. And I can connect to that archetype, and I can ask her to come and hold mother and this inner child within me to help me through a very difficult places in my life. And help me through every single transition. And that wisdom is within us. It's embodied in our DNA, it's embodied in our tissues, it's in our blood. It's there, ready for the taking. We just have to open ourselves and connect to it. And of course, we don't have to do it alone. This is why it's so important to have, the relationships with other women that can help you. This is, why I give the potions for transitions, that you can call the plant allies and you can ask them to help you through this difficult time. You can relax your nervous system and reset it so your body can actually cope with what is happening. And that's why I think it's so important.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for putting it in the book. It's really important. Oh, we made it. We did the whole podcast on the 4th attempt. Oh my gosh, the storm is still going so strong outside as well, but we did it. And thank you so much for being so generous.
If I may just say so, it is such a beautiful illustration. We are in perimenopause. We're kind of getting to that like stormy season, the storm is out there. Everything is breaking. Everything is like working against us, in the quotation marks.
Right.
And yet, if you come together and if you connect your inner strength, you can go through it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, we recorded it. We've tried many times, yet here we are at the end of this podcast and we went through it. We could have that conversation, but you see also in between, we've had so many beautiful chats that were so healing for me and so filled with wisdom that, I'm going to take them as a healing from this experience.
Yeah, it was lovely for me too. I feel my heart open and just a lovely vibe between us. And what was really lovely for me to connect with you on is just sharing like the energy of perimenopause. And we were chatting for 40 minutes before we did our first attempt at the recording. And it was so lovely. Neither of us gave advice to the other. We both just shared this almost indescribable difficulty or presence or thing that is going on, and it kind of formed the basis of the conversation. Really, it was. I thank you for that. I appreciate you.
Yes, and I thank you as well. And I think this is also very important to remember, because I think in the patriarchal world we are very focused on fixing. If somebody comes to you and says something, you feel this deep urge of fixing it. I have to do something to help. I have to give an advice. I have to, I have to. But the truth is that often we share something just to be heard. And just in this process of being heard, that's where the healing happens, because somebody is holding you through the moment of difficulty that you are going through, and you can share it together and you can open yourself and become vulnerable, and there's nobody there to judge you, nobody there to tell you, you're doing it wrong, you should do it this way. No, it's
God forbid someone should tell a perimenopausal woman you should do it a different way.
Well, we invite you to try.
Try us. Off with their heads. Or they try and eat popcorn near us in the cinema. Or chew near us or something. But anyway, thank you. It's been really, really lovely to speak to you, and hopefully many more conversations ahead. Actually, I have a few ideas. Once we've hung up the call, we can chat about. But
thank you for having me. It's been really precious to me.
Yeah, and I hope everyone listening really, I think everyone got something from that as well. So can you just tell everyone where to find you, like your website address? And
so you can find me on www.primetherapy.co.uk.
Yeah.
And I'm also on Instagram, ioni.wise. And I've just started my Substack, so that's also Ioni Wise. So well, if you're interested in my writing, you can find me there as well.
Okay. Well, I'll put all the links in the show notes so you can just get those easily. But otherwise, thank you so much, Agnieszka. And thank you for writing the book that sounded very, very easy. I'm sure it wasn't at different points, but it sounded very, very easy. And yes, lots of love. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.